Okay, ready to dive in. Today, we're going to be looking at the life of Liam Payne.
Okay.
And I have a feeling this Wikipedia rabbit hole might surprise you.
Oh.
We're talking One Direction fame, a solo career that crossed genres like crazy, and a
Bravo.
tragically early end at only 31.
Yeah.
So how did this kid from Wolverhampton become a global music icon?
Well, I think what's striking about Liam's story is this resilience
Mhm.
that you see kind of woven through it,
Right.
even from his early years. And I think that adds this unexpected depth to kind of understanding his later success.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. It's not your
Hmm.
typical rock star origin story,
Wow.
born 3 months, premature 32 injections a day just to deal with a damaged kidney.
Yeah.
Like
It's a lot.
that's some heavy stuff for a child.
It is, and that kind of experience, it could easily define someone's whole outlook,
Right.
But with Liam, it almost seems like it fueled his drive. It makes you wonder if those early battles kind of instilled this incredible strength we see throughout his career.
And get this, he wasn't just fighting health issues. The guy was a natural-born athlete, nationally ranked runner. Can you believe it?
Wow.
I kind of wonder what would happen if music hadn't taken over
Yeah,
Olympic Liam.
it's fascinating to consider those what-if moments, isn't it?
It is.
And speaking of which, his journey to becoming a musician
Right.
wasn't exactly straightforward either.
Yeah.
Rejected twice by X Factor.
Oh, wow.
First at 14, then again at 16.
Oh, no.
Talk about perseverance.
I mean, getting cut by Simon Cowell.
I know.
Even after he brought you back for a second look,
Right?
I'd be questioning everything.
Yeah.
But clearly there was something special there.
Oh, yeah.
Something that even Cowell couldn't deny.
Exactly. That raw talent just shone through.
Yeah.
And it's incredible how, one decision, that change of heart from Cowell, can completely alter someone's trajectory.
Total sliding doors moment, right? And get this. You know who actually suggested putting him in One Direction? Nicole Scherzinger.
Oh, wow.
It makes you think, what if she hadn't seen that spark,
Right.
that synergy between him and the other guys?
Yeah,
Pop music would be a completely different landscape.
absolutely. And it really highlights how these seemingly small moments
Right.
can have this ripple effect,
Yeah.
shaping not only individual lives, but entire cultural movements.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling when you think about it.
It is. So we've got Liam in the band,
Okay.
but he wasn't just along for the ride.
Right.
One Direction becomes this global phenomenon.
Yeah.
Their first 4 albums debuting at #1 on the Billboard 200.
Wow.
This is unheard of.
Crazy.
Something that hadn't happened in almost 60 years.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's huge.
It is.
Yeah.
So it's a true testament to their global appeal.
It is.
But what I find really interesting
Okay.
is that Liam was already showing his creative depth even then.
We tend to think of boy bands as manufactured.
Right.
Right. But he's co-writing a good chunk of the songs on their 3rd and 4th albums.
Wow. Okay.
So that's what I love, digging into the details that show you there's more to the story.
right.
And even while all of this is going on, he's exploring music production
Okay.
under these aliases. Big Payno.
Oh, wow.
It's like he had this drive to create,
Ah.
not just perform.
Like he wasn't content with just being the face in the magazine.
Right.
He wanted to understand the process
Yeah.
to shape the sound.
Right.
And this is where things get really interesting
Okay.
with his solo career.
Because this wasn't just a boy band member going solo.
Right.
He signs with Republic Records.
Wow.
We're talking major label, a statement of intent,
Yeah.
and his collaborations.
Yeah.
This is where you really see him coming into his own.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah. It's an eclectic mix, and it speaks volumes about his range.
yeah.
Wiz Khalifa, Juicy J, DJ Mustard,
It's crazy.
Miguel, Zed, Rita Ora, J Balvin,
Oh.
even French Montana.
Wow.
Clearly, his talent resonated across genres,
Yeah.
and he wasn't afraid to experiment.
He was like a musical chameleon, right?
Totally.
Blending seamlessly with these huge names, trying out different styles. But there's always that essence of Liam in there.
And that, I think, is what makes his story so compelling.
Right.
This wasn't just about chasing hits. It was about exploring his own creative voice, pushing the boundaries of what people expected from him.
Yeah.
And it's tragic because it feels like we were just starting to see the full scope of his potential.
And that's where we have to kind of address the elephant in the room.
Right.
The tragic event that cut his journey so short.
Yeah. In October 2024, at just 31 years old, Liam Payne died after falling from a hotel balcony in Buenos Aires.
That's awful.
The details are still hazy, with police reports mentioning an aggressive man potentially under the influence.
Yeah, it's a stark reminder of the pressures faced by artists,
Right.
especially in an age of constant scrutiny.
Yeah.
It makes you think about those headlines, the rumors.
Right.
It's easy to forget there's a real person behind all that.
Behind it all. Yeah, and someone clearly battling their own demons.
Right.
Based on, what we know about his struggles with alcoholism and mental health.
Of course.
It's a tragic reminder that success doesn't erase vulnerability.
It doesn't. And while we don't want to speculate about what happened that night, it does make you think about the support systems in place.
Yeah.
Or the lack thereof.
For sure, it's a conversation I think the industry needs to have.
Yeah.
But for now, I think we owe it to Liam's legacy to kind of focus on his artistry.
Yeah.
The music he created, the impact he had.
100%.
Yeah.
And when you look at his solo career, it's striking how diverse it was.
Yeah.
We talked about those collaborations.
Right.
But it wasn't just about working with big names. It was about pushing his own creative boundaries.
Right. What's so fascinating to me is how he managed to blend these different sounds but still maintain his own unique style. You hear a Liam Payne song and you just know it's him.
You know it's Liam Payne.
Yeah.
Even with something like Strip That Down.
Right.
Which was a huge departure from that One Direction sound.
Right.
It still had that Liam Payne essence.
Yes.
That song was everywhere, global smash hit, topped the charts.
Huge, yeah.
Really solidified him as a solo force.
Absolutely. It showed a different side of him.
It did.
That swagger, the confidence.
Yes.
But then you have a track like For You with Rita Ora, which was featured in 50 Shades Freed.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a completely different vibe, more sensual, more vulnerable.
Right, and that song was inescapable, too.
Everywhere.
It just goes to show his range,
Totally.
He could do the dance floor anthem. He could do the heartbreaking ballad.
Right, and he wasn't afraid to experiment.
Right.
You hear it in his collaborations with Zedd and Jonas Blue.
Yeah.
That electronic, almost melancholic sound.
Right.
It's a departure, but it works because his vocals just have this inherent emotional depth.
Which is something you could say about his music from the very beginning, even in One Direction.
Yeah.
There was always just this soulfulness, this sincerity in his voice.
And I think that's what resonates with people.
Right.
That authenticity. He wasn't afraid to be vulnerable, to share his struggles through his music.
It makes you wonder what direction his music would have taken next, what stories he still had to tell.
It really does. And what's particularly poignant looking back is something he said about always learning and evolving as a musician.
Okay.
He was only 22 at the time, but he talked about how he felt it was too late to learn guitar.
Wow, really?
I know.
That's surprising, especially given how much he experimented with different sounds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he went on to say that talking to Pharrell Williams' producer changed his whole perspective. The producer said that Pharrell couldn't even play a note on the keyboard at that age.
Wow.
And that seemed to really liberate Liam.
Yeah.
This idea that it's never too late to learn to start something new.
That's such an important message, especially coming from someone who achieved so much at such a young age.
Wow.
It's easy to think that success has an expiration date.
Right.
But Liam's story shows us that's not true.
It's not. And it makes his passing all the more tragic because it felt like he was just getting started, exploring all these different facets of himself as an artist.
It's a loss that the music world is definitely feeling.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But when you look at the scope of his career,
right,
even in such a short time, it's incredible.
Yeah.
This wasn't someone who peaked with a boy band.
Right.
He kept pushing. He kept evolving.
And that's the real takeaway for me, that sense of restless creativity.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that there's no set timeline for artistic exploration.
Right.
No age limit on trying new things and challenging yourself.
Which makes that quote about learning guitar even more powerful. He could have easily rested on his laurels, thought, I've made it, I'm set.
Right.
But he had this hunger to learn to grow.
Yes.
And that's inspiring.
Absolutely. And it speaks to, I think, the heart of what we try to do here on the Deep Dive,
Yeah.
To encourage that same spirit of curiosity,
Right.
that desire to dig a little deeper,
Yeah.
to uncover those hidden gems of knowledge.
So as we wrap up this look at Liam Payne's life and career,
Yes.
I think it's worth asking ourselves,
Okay.
what are those whispers of what if that we've been ignoring? What's that one thing we've convinced ourselves is out of reach?
Yeah, maybe it's time to dust off those old dreams, to embrace that beginner's mindset that Liam clearly never lost.
I love that Liam Payne's story may have been tragically cut short,
Yeah.
but his legacy of resilience, creativity, and that relentless pursuit of growth,
Yeah.
that's something that can continue to inspire us all.
Beautifully said.